Hi, George.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm sitting here with George Carlin. I want to read something to you.
Mm-hmm.
On the cover of your 14th album entitled Parental Advisory Explicit Lyrics, you've written your own warning label that says, this recording contains no backtracking or subliminal suggestions. All messages from the devil are recorded in standard American English. Now, I think that's great.
Yeah, well.
But, like, do you think you're possessed?
No, but I was making sure anybody who thinks I was possessed or am possessed would know I wasn't trying to conceal it.
So you want to be openly possessed?
Straightforward. Don't let your kids listen to this if they're leaning towards suicide already. Because I believe that, you know, those kids that do that and have a record playing, it goes a little deeper than what's on the record, that's all.
You would think so, wouldn't you? We'll be right back, honey.
The woman.
I would give anything if I could play all the blues changes and the boogie-woogie changes and just sit home. I would work in an insurance company all day if I could go home and do that at night.
Honey, I bet I could get me some man if I could play like that. Just sit in a window with a little red light over it, just working and grinning.
You might have to work both sides of that job.
You mean both sides of that street?
Yeah.
In both windows?
Yeah.
I've done that.
Yeah, all right.
But hey, enough about me. Let's talk about you, George.
Okay.
Jamming in New York is one of the great pieces, one of the greatest pieces for me that you have done. You talk about the arrogance of human beings. Where does that come from? What prompted that in you?
I'm disappointed in my own species. I think this is a failed species. I think we started out great. I think this brain is terrific. But I think we have two potential things that made us great: competition and cooperation. And I think the cooperation has now been completely overshadowed by the competition. And all people want to do now is compete and accumulate wealth and accumulate goods and make out better than the guy next to him or keep up to this dude and grab this power and so forth. And the cooperation shows up after a flood, after a hurricane, and it lasts for however long it lasts, and then people all go home and they don't care about anybody anymore. And my anger came from the arrogance that humans seem to have concerning nature. They are a part of it, and yet they objectify it. They make it like it's something else, man versus nature. And so therefore, if man's part of nature and he's fighting against it, he's fighting with himself. It's a suicide pact that we're engaged in, and technology is the chosen instrument. And that's where most of the core thinking came from.
The planet has been through a lot worse than us. Been through all kinds of things worse than us. Been through earthquakes, volcanoes, plate tectonics, continental drift, solar flares, sunspots, magnetic storms, the magnetic reversal of the poles, hundreds of thousands of years of bombardment by comets and asteroids and meteors, worldwide floods, tidal waves, worldwide fires, erosion, cosmic rays, recurring ice ages, and we think some plastic bags and some aluminum cans are going to make a difference? The planet isn't going anywhere. We are.
One of the great things for me that I learned from you about communicating with comedy is that you can open people's eyes. I mean, I was with you, I forget what, some benefit we did, where you talked about the fact that we could take all the golf courses and turn them into places where people could actually live. Now, I like to think that my brain works, George, but your brain works at another level.
Well, I like to get outside of the struggle. The struggle seems to be between what we call left and right, you know? With people who the way I learned it as a young man is Republicans and right-wingers and conservatives are interested in property rights. Property rights. Left-wingers, liberals, and Democrats, to oversimplify it, of course, are interested in people's rights. I think people come before property. I think property is theft. I don't think anybody owns anything. Because when you die, it's still there.
This is true.
So you gave it to somebody else. So what? When they die, it's going to be still there. You don't own anything. So all this property stuff is a way of keeping power. And I see golf courses as an arrogant symbol. I like to think in symbols. And I get outside of this thing, and I think, look at all this land. Look how big a golf course is. They're about 150 to 200 acres. The ball is that big. What do these pinheads need with all that land to play with a little ball? Go play miniature golf. It's the same game. So my thing is, nobody wants to build any place. Nobody wants the homeless in low-cost housing near them. You can't build low-cost housing near anybody because people don't want it near them. So get it out of my neighborhood. Over there will be good. Down near where Dave lives, not here. So put it on the golf courses. Let these guys play, you know, what it was a screed against the arrogance of the wealthy, that they think they have the right to appropriate all of this land, use all that water. You know how much water it takes to keep those golf courses? There are over 17,000 golf courses in America. There are over 3 million acres. There's enough room in golf courses to build 2 Rhode Islands and a Delaware. There are 2 Rhode Islands and a Delaware in golf courses alone, and they water these things every day, and they put chemicals on the lawn. And I just think that's another sign, one more sign, that our proportions are way out of whack. That's all, you know.
It's deep, isn't it?
And that happened at Comic Relief, by the way, a couple of years ago.
That was Comic Relief, yeah. It bowled me over. You know, it did, because it's true. It's true. Yeah. You're right, it's only, you know.
Yeah, go roll the ball down the hall of your office. You know, leave these trees alone.
Yeah, or line your wife up. Well, you know.
Yeah, anyway.
And again, I'm going back to some of the it's early to me. It may not be early to other people, but it's early to me. The number one, the number two. This piece that you did about the way we describe what we leave in the bowl.
Yeah.
Number one and number two. And then you put together all the variations on what it could be.
If you walk your dog.
Yes.
Like my little girl came back and said that Tippy had done an 11. And I wondered where that came from, you know, and what it looked like. And what she explained was, I believe, that it was 5 1s and 3 2s over the course of a 20-minute walk. And I was proud that she was learning her arithmetic, you know. But, you know, here's something interesting about body functions. Right. This is another sign of how screwed up religion made this planet, organized religion, because I believe in animism. I like the native religions. The Indians have a good religion. I think equating a rock with a tree with a person is a good idea. But there are 2 things that are obscene in American law. There are only 2 subjects you can speak of that can be classified as obscene under American law. One of them has to do with sex. The other has to do with bathroom functions. Bathroom functions and sex are 2 of the most irrepressible forces in nature. They are 2 of the most unavoidable, irrepressible, irresistible things we have about us. So what do they want to do? Repress them. We repress them because they're natural, because they put us in touch with nature, because they are real, because we are part of nature. When man is born, he's separated from nature, and that's where religion perverts that longing that we have to be reunited with nature. That's why some people look out and say, gee, maybe, what if, wouldn't it be great? And that's why if they say, there's a man up there watching you, and if you touch a woman in the wrong place, he'll mark down a thing in the book against you. People tend to want to believe that because they believe these myths about if you do everything right, you'll be reunited. You don't need to be reunited through doing things right. You just need to live and understand that you and I are part of that tree over there. You and I have the same atoms in us that are in stars. They came from stars. You and I we're star children. We came out of stars. Every atom in us originated in the central furnace of a star somewhere. So you're part of it all anyway. Why separate yourself? That's a tree. No. The tree and I are here, you know. It's so much easier if you don't go to war with everything around you.
Baby, everybody is a star. We'll be right back. God.
Look at your watch, and then you don't know what time it is. And you have to look again, and you still don't know the time. So you look a third time, and somebody says, what time is it? You say, I don't know. Did you ever notice how sometimes all day Wednesday, you keep thinking it's Thursday? And it happens over and over all day long. And then the next day, you're all right again. Did you ever find yourself standing in one of the rooms in your house and you can't remember why you went in there?
That's what he was told.
Product is never called white, it's always called black.
Yes, and he was very nervous about that.
Yeah.
But we're back.
We're back and be back and
Be back.
come back.
Where'd you come from?
Harlem. I call it White Harlem because it was right next door to Black Harlem. We call it, it was a neighborhood called Morningside Heights.
Right, that neighborhood.
That sounds lame. You go to a dance downtown and some guy says, where are you from, man? And you say, Morningside Heights. He would probably take your pants. If you say, White Harlem, he's going to go, oh, okay. Because he never heard of it.
Right.
And Harlem, he knew was tough.
Right.
And he probably didn't want to deal with that at all.
Right, right.
So White Harlem, he had to go home and think about first. So we lived about 2 blocks from where the black section ended. We lived in a little Irish enclave between Columbia University, West Harlem. I lived on 121st, I hung around 124th, and Amsterdam. And then there was Cuban and Puerto Rican.
Right.
And man, I grew up with rhythm and blues. When I was, in 1950, I was 12 going on 13. I discovered 60 Minute Man. I discovered One Mint Julep by the Clovers. And I was, Peggy Lee and Perry Como and all them people just went out the window that year for me. And I started listening to the jukeboxes, and I started hanging around in front of the Baby Grand where Willie and Ray did a show at night. And I would hang up, I put up a little sign, play Lucille by Clyde McPhatter. I'm running home, don't play it for 20 minutes. And I would run home and turn on WLIB, I think it was, WHOM. Turn on WHOM, and Willie and Ray would play it for me. And that's, see, I saw the freedom. The odd thing is, the funny paradox is, blacks who were denied their freedom in the worst way, to be denied it in the worst way, had more freedom in them than any of the whites who tried to enslave them. They had freedom with their bodies, freedom to speak beautifully, they moved wonderfully, and they had an ease with each other and an ease with the streets that white guys didn't have. So we emulated blacks, a little core group of us. There was a big neighborhood. Little core group of us start talking like that, you know, say, what's up, what's happening, you know, what you doing, what's going on? Wait a minute, hey, wait, hold on, hey, wait a minute, man. We started wearing conservative clothes. We started wearing wingtips were cool, and we started wearing wingtips, French toes, and featherweights. We stopped pegging our pants, and we started wearing charcoal suits, 3-button or a 4-button necklace with a vest, and an eyelet shirt with a Slim Jim tie, and carrying an umbrella even on a nice day, which was so cool, to hang on the corner with your umbrella, you know, and be like this. What's happening?
I just went home for a second.
Yeah, it was just wonderful. And we were stone Irish. Stone Irish. And the older guys, the guys just 2 or 3 years older than us, thought it was complete sacrilegious and insanity, you know. What are you doing? What you doing? Are you like the niggers? You're not the nigger, you're Irish. For God's sake, look at you got on, you got nigger clothes. You know, they had to say, forget it, man. See you later. We had explained to some guys that Irish people were once lower than blacks in this country.
Right.
Especially on the levees, where the blacks were too expensive to stand at the bottom of the levee and stop the cotton bales because they were worth $1,000 as slaves. So instead of putting blacks down there, they put Irish guys, give them some whiskey and 50 cents, and they would stand down. And then if they got knocked in the water, it didn't matter because they weren't worth any money. I used to tell Irish guys that. They couldn't handle that.
I know, you know, it's a funny thing. People always feel like they have to be one step above. They never, we never seem to sort of backtrack and see that we all were underneath at some point or another. But you know what just kicked my butt was, you can tell when somebody's from uptown. See, I'm a downtown girl. I'm from Chelsea.
Ah, my mother grew up in Chelsea.
See, and whenever we went up, I have an older brother. He and I would go up and see my grandmother. We were always taught, when somebody said, where are you going, we'd say, 148th Street.
Yeah.
But folks that lived uptown, the word was spelled A-H-U-N, 100.
Yeah. Oh, and even 48. It got to that.
That's right.
We're from 48.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
He'd be over there between 43rd and 44th. I'm not sure where, but drop the whole thing. Drop everything.
Yeah. And so they could always tell us in the crowd.
Yeah,
100
and
running with this
that's nice.
funny old
That's a
English.
real New York story.
Oh yeah. Now George, you gonna act some more? I
wanna.
You're very funny in Prince of Time.
Thank you.
This was not a laugh fest movie, I must say.
No, it wasn't.
But you just brought some spirit in there that wasn't there. Did you have a good time?
I had a great time because I brought an actor's thing there to see Barbara Streisand. When I asked her after a few days why she had asked me to read for her, because I thought she had seen me in something else and said, well, he can act. And I was looking for a compliment. That's dangerous. Don't look for a compliment. But I said, why did you think of me? Hoping she would say, because I sensed you were a wonderful actor or something like that. I was looking for a big compliment. She said, I thought it would be a good part for a stand-up comic. So I said, oh, that's cool. But I knew that I had done something she didn't expect. I had worked on it as an actor because I learned some things about what actors are supposed to do and how you can help yourself. And I just focused on one word for a month before I showed up to work, lonely. My experience has been in seeing gay males in America is that when they get to their 50s, many of them, certainly I don't want to say everybody, but many of them feel kind of lonely. Those relationships don't last. And there's a thing about appearances that when your appearances go, it's like women in our society. When you're not the hot, cute new trick at the bar anymore, things change for you. And I tried to incorporate some of that into my feeling of loneliness.
George.
Yeah.
What happens when, you mean this is going to go?
Not for you. I was talking about the rest of the people.
Oh, okay. All right, because I get nervous, you know.
No, don't.
Oh, I guess we go in a commercial.
I think so.
We'll be right back. Are people talking to you about other stuff?
NBC, and we'd laugh and laugh, and once I laughed so hard watching Seinfeld, the carbonation tickled my nose, and my humor erupted on the carpet. To this day, I never drink drinks with bubbles when I watch NBC Wednesday. Do you blame me, mon petit?
Hey, man.
Hi, Whoopi.
Glad to see you.
Certainly more relaxed without an an audience.
Absolutely.
Cool piano. I didn't even know we were on. All of a sudden, it's free,
there
man.
it is. There it is. We're sitting here with Dennis Miller. You know, and this is kind of bizarre because, you know, I'm not sure whether I'm supposed to ask a question, you're going to ask the questions. It's, you know, it's bizarre. And I'm going to start, so you jump in wherever you want.
Go ahead.
You have a very interesting reputation. Some people call you a hip, cool guy. Some people think you're smug, arrogant. I think you're like a macaroon, okay? Kind of hard on the outside, but really squishy, soft, and sweet on the inside.
Yeah.
Which one is true? Are you a macaroon?
Well, you know, I've always been amazed that part of show business is, I've always judged people on competency, and there seems to be a part of show business where you can get by being nice all the time. And you know, I do feel like underneath I'm nice, and I don't feel the need to kill people with that all the time. That gets a little boring to me. I'm a comedian. I try to make people laugh. Part of the business that I'm in makes me sheepish. I find all the instantaneous love that's achieved in this business to be somewhat bullshit, and it makes me a little uneasy.
Yeah.
So I'm just a regular person. I meet people in show business, and if they eventually prove themselves out to be nice people, you know, I love to befriend people, but if it's all that slick, hey, I love you, and but I get bored with that.
Yeah.
I can't suffer that anymore. I can't fake that. So I'd rather just be a little distant until I find out what's happening. And yeah, some people discern that as smug. I might be smug to them. I don't know. All I know is that at the core, I try to be a decent human being, and that's what matters to me. So.
Well, let's close this distant gap, Dennis, when we come right back.
Whoopi, I love you. Hey, this is like Vegas. There are no monitors. You can't see yourself. No clocks in Vegas. No monitors.
No, that's
here.
right.
So you can't be self-conscious.
That's
you look
right.
At yourself.
Don't want you to be. Well, you wouldn't be self-conscious anyway.
You know what? One thing I learned from the 6 months of doing the talk show was that guests should just talk. Don't be reticent. I used to sit there certain nights and I felt like I was doing good cop, bad cop with these people. Some people were so reticent to share.
Yeah, what did you do in those situations? We haven't come across it quite yet. But like when you get there and there is a stiff sitting next to you, what do you do?
Well, the thing that I've learned is that at some point these talk shows, this less so because it's the half-hour one-on-one thing, but a nightly talk show with guests is commerce. It is the marketplace.
Yeah.
People trundle through. They've got things that they have to sell, and they move on. And it was pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
And some of them were there because they had to be there, because the studio wanted them there, but they didn't want to be there.
Right.
I just stopped getting angry at them. I could just see that, just trying to make the best of it. And
what happened?
the only thing that happened to my show is the system. It didn't get a high enough rating. I read now, to some extent, there's a backlash in the press saying that I am pointing fingers at the Tonight Show and blaming them for my demise. I don't. My show, there's a myriad of reasons that led to the downfall of my show. But that was one of them.
Yeah.
The talk show guest wars.
What the...
But it wasn't the only reason, and I don't want to become the class whiner here. I'm not pointing fingers at them. I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah.
I play real hardball as far as guests go, and that makes it difficult to book people, especially for a fledgling show like mine.
Right.
But that was not the only reason that show's off the air, and I don't want to get that whiner reputation.
Right.
I don't think the company that did my show, the Chicago Tribune, to be quite honest, thought that I was very talented. So at some point you can't buck that.
Yeah.
I mean, if they don't like you, the people who are behind your show...
Yeah, really. It makes it kind of tough to work.
Yeah. I had 6 months. I look at it as this. It's like there had to be a first troop carrier on the Normandy beach, and it used to be tough to get on the beach when Carson had the one bunker established there.
Right.
Now there's two bunkers. You have Arsenio and the Tonight Show. And while it used to be very hard to get in against Johnny, imagine how hard it is now with two shows that are already firmly established.
Right.
I think that it demands a lot of patience, a lot of care, tender, loving care, And my company was in the more of a math equation approach to the show. At the 6-month point, they looked at it, they didn't like what the equation read, and they pulled the show. I just, you know, wish, obviously, as the person who was in the midst of that, that they had been a little more patient, but they weren't. The Tonight Show wars are, they're a big thing now. They're being hyped ad nauseum. But the simple fact is it does exist. There is pressure from these other shows not to do a show. And I'm not manufacturing it. It just is. They're going to deny it. I can lay the whole scenario out for you. They're going to say it never happened.
There's too much paperwork on it.
Yeah, I always prescribe to the theory where there's smoke, there's fire. I mean, there's too much of it. People know it goes on.
Are you pissed at them? For putting you in the can't even say the word.
Pissed at the other shows or pissed at the people behind my show?
No, the people at the Tonight Show for involving you. And so, to some degree, Arsenio, who was a little
Well, the people
fairer.
I dealt with were two, the Tonight Show and the Arsenio show. And Arsenio, you know, I'm not naive. I'm not a child. These people want to win. And I know Arsenio wanted to kick my ass. I just know it did. That's the business. All I can tell you is he was never anything but a gentleman about it. And that's all you ask. I mean, this is, like I said, the business place. People want their shows to work. I'm not naive. This isn't Walton Mountain at Christmas time. There are some seriously motivated people, competitive people who want to win. That's Arsenio Hall. But he did everything, I feel, above board and classy. Now, the Tonight Show, I had nothing but trouble with. That's just me. It might not exist for other people. It might be a love fest. But I hear other people complaining too. My experience with them was that it was cold, detached. They were more faceless about it, and they leaned more on people. And once again, that is not the reason I'm off the air. I have to preface it that I don't want to look like I'm blaming them.
I know.
But it just was a fact. That's how they were.
Saturday Night Live, do you miss it?
You know, there's certain people there, and although to some extent Saturday Night Live is the gladiator school of contemporary show business. You talk about throwing 18 to 20 competitive people into an arena together. It's very competitive, but I must say it's that, you know, they sometimes say immediate intimacy is bred of hard and fast times. People in the bunker together form that really quick bond, and Saturday Night Live, due to its live nature, is the bunker. It's a frightening place, and I grew to love a lot of those people there. I miss them from that respect.
We'll be right back with Dennis Miller.
That's the coolest cue.
Yes, because I will miss, because I get into talking, they used to flash.
On the next Whoopi Goldberg show, it's Dennis Miller.
You a dad?
Yeah, I got a little boy now. My wife and I decided it was time, you know, because we want to do pre-board airplanes. No, he unconditionally makes me laugh. When I walked around that show often during the day, I didn't have a smile on my face. It was just like, got to make this work, got to make it. And now I just look at him and he looks at me and he said, Daddy, you've been fired.
Don't miss the Whoopi Goldberg show.
Official carrier American Airlines. Together with American Eagle, American flies daily to over 30 tropical destinations in the Caribbean. American Airlines, something special to the sun.
Yeah.
Telling you.
Oh, man, you should not get that soulful in mid-afternoon. Your skull can blow off getting that soulful.
Oh, honey, some days you get us in here and we're wailing and wailing
that
and
is
weeping.
After
and
sundown music.
People throw money, you know. It's frightening. Now, listen, let's play, if you wouldn't mind, before we say goodnight to these nice people. Let's play a little word association.
Shoot.
Bush.
Beer. No.
Shaving. No.
Well, I can't put it in one word. I think Bush is a heartful man in a heartless job. I really think you know, this will sound weird. I'm not dropping this like I know the president. I was at a dinner one night, though, where he told me a story about his son's baseball team and how an illegal alien who had become a naturalized United States citizen threw out the first ball at his son's game. And as he was telling me the story, I'm not trumping this up. I'm pretty cynical about stuff like this. He was tearing up. I could see this meant a lot to him, this America thing. I think that he has completely lost sight of what we have to do for our people. I really do. But I don't think it's a matter of heart. I think it's a matter of his intellectual approach to how to save the people is just not working. It's crap. But I don't view him as a heartless man at all. I really think he just does not see it. And I don't know what that is. I think we're so locked into this Republican-Democrat system now that this is why I like Perot. I like the idea of a third party in that one side now takes one side of the issue, the other side now takes the other side of the issue reflexively. I wanted a third guy in there so at least these two wouldn't feel the need to always be arbitrary with each other.
They could kick Perot's butt in the middle.
Yeah, if there was a third party, that's why I kind of liked him. But Bush, I guess, I think, is I don't dislike the man, but I do dislike his doctrines right now.
What about Clinton?
Showbiz, poll, business as usual to me. I'm going to vote for him because I think we need to change. And I hope to God he proves me wrong, but at this, you know what, it's like Groucho said, I never want to belong to a club that'll have me as a member. I always question somebody who wants to be the president. And you know what I mean? And Clinton is somebody I look at, and like I said, I hope he proves me wrong. Maybe I'm the shallow one who can't believe anymore, but I look at him and I just see a pretender to the throne, and why does he want that throne, and what, it looks a little cosmetic to me, but like I said, I might have just been disappointed too many times. I might be jaded. Maybe he is the one.
Buchanan.
Well, that speech was rather embarrassing. I really, you know, I see they crucify Cuomo now because Cuomo made a reference that it was almost Nazi-esque, the convention. That might have been a little strong, but I know when I sat there and heard Buchanan speaking in exclusionary terms like that about homosexuals, hey, what business is it of any of us who somebody wants to bonk? I mean, I am incensed that our country has degenerated to the point where anybody's sex life is anybody's business, especially Pat Buchanan.
Now, where did you grow up? You grew up in
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Yeah, and I first got into, I got out of college. I had a Bachelor of Arts in journalism, and I went to New York to try comedy in 1978. And wow. Camera just moved into the vine over there. We're getting that.
Well, we like that naturalistic feel. You know, the sounds of the Joneses creeping up on us.
Dr. Livingston, I presume.
I presume.
I moved to New York in '78 to try comedy. It was probably the best thing I ever did because New York just kicks your ass. I mean, it is unrelenting, tough town. You know. And it taught me something about showbiz. Show business is, in alternating moments, not as bleak as you'd think it'd be. There's sort of I find a soul to show business on some odd level, but in other moments, it is the coldest place. It is a business that adheres strictly to the Peter Principle, and you better live up to your level of competency, or it just spits you out. And that's somewhat what New York was like. So it taught me good lessons. New York was a place of great prosperity, and there was great fortune to be found there if you busted your ass and did what you had to. And if you didn't, if you whined about it, and just said, why don't I get, it just didn't care. You were...
Well, because there's 40 million other people to take
aspiring.
What was your family's reaction to you becoming a stand-up?
My mom was, my father deceased, but my mom was always supportive of, you know, my stand-up. She didn't really, she was just glad I found something, as I'll be with my kid. Something that put a spark in their eye. You know what I mean? I always thought if my kid came home and told me he had a job and he looked dispirited about that, that wouldn't please me necessarily. But if he came home and he had a passion that he might not be making a cent at, I think I'd be overjoyed, because I think two things can happen if you follow that route, pursuing your passion. One, your passion can lead you to fame and fortune. Two, it can lead you nowhere, but you have pursued your passion. Whereas in the opposing thing, it seems like two dead ends to me. You can get all the money in the world, and if you're not happy with the job you're performing, you're at a dead end. And if you're not happy, you probably don't make money at it. You know what I mean? It's just... So when I told my mom I stumbled onto something that pleased me, she was just happy for that regard. The way I found comedy was almost Pavlovian inducement. I remember in 10th grade, I sat in a study hall next to the big football player in our high school. And I was like 85 pounds, just completely insignificant. I was like a gnat in the socio-system of this school. And I wasn't particularly adept with women. I wasn't particularly bright. I wasn't particularly good at athletics. And I was a small kid. So I sat in the study hall one day, and we had this teacher who we didn't like, or proctor, whatever she was called, an overseer. And I met...
You can tell like a plant taker.
Commandant.
Get in there and do that,
it was
man.
James Mason from Mandingo, actually, is who it was. And I said something cutting about her, and this big football star laughed. And it was the first time in my existence I had gotten the corn kernel as opposed to the electric shock. I just remember it was an important moment for me. It was intoxicating. I looked over and I said, "Did I just make him laugh? Oh, I see. This is my way to get in."
Right.
And from then on, I just kind of I used it in my life. And then I got out of college, and I worked a series of bad jobs, and I didn't know. I was kind of lost.
Right.
And then one night I saw a thing on a club in Pittsburgh. It said comedy tonight. I thought, my God, somebody's actually doing comedy for a living. That's so weird to me. No, it wasn't like it is now.
Right.
I went in and watched him, and thank God he was just horrendous. It was so bad that I actually, a pretty shy kid, had the presumption that I could do it. If he would have been great, I might have sat there and said, "Oh, wow, boy, that's out of my league."
We'd
But
be
he was
reading your byline,
yeah,
like the
so
newspaper.
bad that I thought, hey, I could do that bad. Let me up there.
I hear by the magic fingers of my piano man that it's time to bat it to commercial. We'll be right back. It'll make you want to throw your clothes off and
Yeah,
smoke
I need
cigarette.
a tetanus shot after that.
I'm telling you, honey. I'm telling you. You're just too much over there. He gets nuts over there.
Yeah.
Now listen, you're a dad?
Yeah, I got a little boy now. My wife and I decided it was time, you know, because we want to do pre-board airplanes. No, I don't want to say my wife's biological clock was ticking, but Harold Lloyd was hanging off the minute hand. But you know, folks, I got a little boy Holden. He's 2 years and 2 months, and it is the joy of my life. And I've got time to spend with him. I used to parrot the phrase that I was spending a lot of time with him when I had the show, but the show's pretty taxing, and I'd go home sometimes and pass out and miss him. But now I go during the day, we go play miniature golf, and I'm firmly convinced, and I know this to be true, and I know we don't live our lives like this, but me being with that boy for anything is so infinitely more important than me doing 50 years of good television shows, that I want to teach myself that lesson. If there's anything to be learned from the adversity of having a show canceled on you, it is that it is not the core of life. And I tell you, sometimes in this business, we yak about that, but you don't even really believe it deep down in your sanctum sanctorum. At some point, it becomes very important to you that it succeed. And I'm telling you, I'm going to work hard as a human being to learn the lesson that my boy and my wife and the time I spend with them should dwarf, absolutely dwarf, all this crap that you get caught in this thing and you don't even see it. But I'm telling you, I'm learning it now because he unconditionally makes me laugh. You know what I mean? It's just I get that smile on my face and I say, this is the right thing. When I walked around that show often during the day, I didn't have a smile on my face. It was just like, got to make this work, got to make it. And now I just look at him and he looks at me and he said, "Daddy, you've been fired." And you just laugh your ass off.
Out of the mouth of babes.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming
Thanks,
and
Whoop.
talking.
I won't get up because this mic is set in
I'll
stone
lean in.
here.
I'll lean in.
All right, there you go.
Good night. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Staying up later, we're happy to have Jack Palance with us tonight. How has your life changed since the Oscar for City Slickers?
I think it's been slowly and steadily going downhill. How else has it changed? I don't know. It hasn't changed at all.
Really?
Ah.
You're not recognized by a newer generation of fans? There's not a little boost to what's been going on?
Oh, there may be that kind of recognition, but as far as work is concerned, as far as anything else is concerned, that came to nothing.
So There's a dearth of roles for you because of age or whatever?
I hate to bring age into it. I suppose so, though. If it's that, yeah, I suppose so.
Of course.
Oh, who the hell cares? I don't want to get into that. That sounds depressing. But when you ask me a question like, how has your life changed? It hasn't changed at all. That's it. 3 days after that stupid Oscars, stupid only because I did those push-ups, and that was a mistake. Because I think the question that I'm asked, oh, God almighty, all day long, every day, hey, you're going to do some push-ups for us? Yeah. And, then, of course, there's a twinkle in the eyes because they think they're being terribly funny. I went to Buenos Aires 3 days after the Oscars. There they are. These people drop on the street and say, Senor Palance, mira, mira, because the Oscars are covered, of course, all over the world. So I knew then what I was in for the next few months. As far as the work is concerned, I was exaggerating because there are an awful lot of things that are an offer that I turned down. I didn't want to do, so. But I wanted to get off on a pessimistic note, so.
And you have succeeded.
Thank you.
But it wasn't really a mistake to do those one-arm push-ups. I mean, that was a great moment.
How do I comment on that? Great moment? I never thought of it as a great moment. I thought of it as something to do because I didn't know what the hell else to do at that moment. And I hate that stupid show, really. You stand up there and they ask you these ridiculous questions of and then you say, well, I want to thank so-and-so, and I want to thank so-and-so, and I want to thank, here I am doing my push-ups now in my chair. I want to thank, and oh, I forgot to thank, and there's one guy that was on there, I think he won the Academy Award for directing. I think he thanked 3,700 people.
That was Jonathan Demme. He sort of went overboard, yeah.
Demme?
He had directed, the Jodie Foster, Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins.
I suppose it's wonderful, wonderful. God, I don't know how much they get paid for all this. I wouldn't mind doing it, you know. Like.
Did you care about winning? You'd been nominated before. Did you care about winning?
To completely say no, it might be pushing it a little bit, but I really didn't give a damn. I didn't give a damn, but perhaps I cared. Whatever the hell that means. You know, as the show started, Billy came out.
Yeah.
Billy Crystal, you know, came out, and I was sitting with my daughter. And just before the whole thing, Billy started talking, and I looked at Holly and I said, Holly, do you mind if I get the hell out of here? If I should win, would you go up there and pick up the award for me? And I was about to start out, and she said, well, if you leave, I'm leaving with you, so you'd better stay, and so I did. So I wasn't terribly excited about the whole thing. I really did want to get the hell out of there.
Did you know, before you wound up playing Curly opposite Billy, did you know of Billy's great affection, especially, not just for you in general, but especially for your role as Jack Wilson and Shane? Had you had that conversation with him?
No.
Did he talk about it at all on the set?
Oh, I think he talked about the role, yeah. Billy talks about a lot of things. I think he's an absolutely marvelous being. And I think it's delightful that you find somebody as effervescent as Billy is.
Yeah.
Because if you had a lot of me's sitting around, you'd have a problem. So it's better to have a couple of Billies.
If there weren't some Billies and a whole lot of other people around across the spectrum, then why would people be mesmerized by a presence like Jack Palance? You need all those people so that a Palance stands out.
Bob,
I don't suggest they exist for that. I don't suggest they exist for that purpose.
Yeah.
But that's the result. In your case, there's something about your presence that people find magnetic, I guess. Have you ever given any thought to what it is you bring to the screen?
No. Good God, no. I think if I thought of that, I'd lose whatever the hell I have. I mean, if I spend time thinking, oh, what do I really bring to the screen? This is why I've got to add a little more here and there. I think I think that would be very unwise.
Is it true that you don't watch your own work?
Well, I have in the long past possibly seen some things. I haven't seen anything recently.
So you never saw City Slickers? You never saw the little role you had in Batman? Or?
No.
How about if you happen to be lying around a hotel room and Shane is on TV? Would you watch it?
I don't think so. My God, why would I want to watch that? That's 40 years ago.
Well, some people might think that's
what
reason enough.
What am I going to do? Sit there looking at me and, or at Alan? Alan I can take. Me, I might not be able to. No, I don't do that. What the hell would I want to watch me for?
You don't give any thought, apparently.
To what?
All these years. No thought to the roles
Shane?
you've played, or... I mean, not to Shane in particular. I don't suggest you should wake up every morning and go, you know, I was just thinking about Shane.
Yeah, I did that once and put a hole in my toe, so...
How did that happen?
Well, I was just sitting here thinking, what the hell can I say? So I put a hole in my toe. See, you sparked to it. I don't sit around thinking about roles past. Certainly not. Have you interviewed people who have or who do?
Yeah. Sure.
They think about roles that they've done in the past?
Sure. They have some thoughts on it, on the director, on other actors they worked with, on the approach that they took. Not necessarily a narcissistic point of view, just, you know, some reflections on what they've done.
Yeah. Perhaps I'll do that tonight. I'll give it a try, Bob.
This would be an enormous relief to me. I'm beseeching you to do this.
Yeah.
Because it's just me and you.
Yeah,
And a couple of people out there in the darkness. And they think that I'm in pretty much the same position, not as Alan Ladd, who could handle himself, but that Southern guy played by Alicia B. Cook that you blew away in the mud. That guy had no chance at all. That guy couldn't even clear the holster. And they're out there saying, that's pretty much the position Bob is in right now. He's up against a ruthless, cold-blooded gunslinger. What this guy, Wilson, the gunslinger, brought to it. And he doesn't arrive until fairly late in the film, and the whole thing is building toward its conclusion. So you're wondering about who he is. And then when he shows up, he's more than just dangerous. He's incredibly cold-blooded. It's a profession to him, and he kind of enjoys it.
Yeah, so, no.
Well, I thought that might spark a response from you. I thought I'd laid it out rather well, and I thought that you would then pick it up.
Oh, I see.
I was extending the baton and hoping you would take it and sprint.
Yeah, sprint. Yeah, there you go, off to the Olympics again. Sprint. Let's see, cold. I suppose so. I don't know. Sometimes you design something, and I suppose it's cold. Maybe it was being up that high in Wyoming. It got kind of cold there occasionally. I don't know how the hell to comment on that. I really don't.
You know, sometimes here, I feel like Billy did in that scene where Curly, the trail boss, comes up behind him, and he says,
this guy is not normal, I'm telling you. Did you see his eyes? He's got crazy eyes. He's a lunatic. I'm telling you, we are going into the wilderness being led by a lunatic. He's behind me, isn't he?
Time to turn in.
Good night. Sorry. I didn't mean anything by that.
I cracked bigger than you.
You crap bigger than me, don't you?
Well, I don't know. I don't think so. I may crap on your questions occasionally. but nothing more than that.
What's that mean to you, Shane?
I've heard about you.
What have you heard, Shane?
I've heard that you're a low-down Yankee liar.
How does a scene like the climactic showdown between you and Alan Ladd's Shane, how does a scene like that come together? Can you get it all pretty fluidly in one take, or is it an hours upon hours
No,
process?
you don't do one take with a guy like George Stevens. You just go on and on and on. You do it for one day sometimes, and then the next day you come back thinking you're going to be doing something else, and he's back to that scene again, saying, well, I had another idea, and I think, oh... And though you'd like to scream, you don't, because there's nowhere to run. So, what the hell was the question?
I forget. How many takes, or how the thing came together? The tension in that scene was what struck everybody who saw it. I remember the first time I saw it, I was probably 8 or 9 years old, and I've seen it several times since. The real, genuine tension of it, you know, and the way it built. You sitting there in the bar earlier in the day, and he still hasn't arrived, and the sun is going down, and the clock is ticking along, and then eventually that moment arrives. You can almost feel it.
I went through a whole rigmarole with George. He'd come in the morning, George says, how are you going to do this scene? And I said, George, I got something, and I go through this whole thing about what I'm going to do. And he said, yeah, that looks good. And the fellows bring in the ropes. So they brought in the ropes, tied them to the back of me, and gave a yank, and I was out of it. That was it.
Prove it.
You played the role of Mountain Rivera in Requiem for a Heavyweight on Playhouse 90 in the mid-1950s. How important was your own boxing background in playing Mountain Rivera? Or could you have played him without that?
Oh, I think you can play anything without having been part of the profession. Certainly, being part of it, you saw an awful lot of people who possibly were close to that. My God, some of the memories that there was this fellow was the lightweight champion of the world, sitting in front of the Columbus Circle gym. There used to be a gym on Columbus Circle, obviously. Shining shoes, waiting for somebody to come up and give him a quarter or give him a $50, and barely being able to talk. Well, getting to know some of these guys at that time obviously made a difference.
Why did you bet against me?
Would it make any difference, kid? If I hocked my left foot and betted on you, would it make any difference? You're not a winner anymore. There's only one thing left. Make a little on the losing.
Fink. You dirty Fink, Mace. You dirty, lousy Fink. Because I stood out there and I took it for you. I gotta pay for it like this. Like this, Hamish. You know, in all the dirty, crummy 14 years I fought for you, I never felt ashamed, Mace. Not one round, not one single minute. And now I feel ashamed. I'd have gone into any ring barehanded against a guy with a cleaver, and that wouldn't have hurt me near as much as this.
Was the golden age of television what people say it was, or is that kind of a nostalgic view?
I think it was as good and as bad and as frantic and frenetic. I think it, for me, was possibly the most exciting period in my life as an actor. I loved it because there were so many things that happened that you didn't suspect would or weren't in the program. My God, I will never forget one thing that comes to mind. We were doing something called, this is not Requiem, but it was called The Death of Manolete, and I was playing Manolete. Tyrone Power was supposed to do it, and he, at the last minute, pulled out. Since they didn't have anybody else, they turned it to me, and there was a big difference in size. Manolete was one of the greatest bullfighters of all time, and Manolete was about 5'7" or 8" and weighed about 125 or 35 pounds, and there I am, 6 feet, and at that time I was only 6'4", and 220 or 25 pounds playing Manolete. This was ridiculous. Anyway, on the live television, there were certain shots they got of the bull, the head of the bull coming in at me, and they had this mounted on a wheelbarrow. So there was a wheelbarrow, and this guy was pushing it around. They've got the camera trained on this, and at one time, the guy with the wheelbarrow, he became a little overzealous and goes right past the camera with his wheelbarrow. So there you go, Manolete. I remember somebody showing me one of the reviews which said, the death of Manolete on television last night was almost the death of television. So it was that bad. Everything went.
In Streetcar.
Well, originally I understudied Quinn on the road in Chicago. And then I understudied Brando for a while in New York.
Both of them?
Yeah. But with Brando, I went on an awful lot because by that time Marlon was, I think he was tired of doing the role, so he was not there on many nights. That was a wonderful period for me. Coming to New York from Stanford, I was at Stanford University. When I left Stanford, came to New York and started acting, professionally that is. I'd been acting quite a bit. But I think I was in 7 shows in about 4 or 5 years. Obviously, an awful lot of them were flops. But going on for Brando, I used to go on for him quite often. And at the same time, I was doing a play at Carnegie Hall called oh dear, something by Sean O'Casey. I forgot the name of it. Story of a football player. Anyway, I had to report at the Barrymore Theater for Streetcar. And if Brando was all right and he was going on, I'd run to the theater. And if he wasn't, then a guy named Bill Weaver, Bill became Dennis Weaver later on, would go on for me. So it was fun. The early years were fun.
Whose Stanley Kowalski was better, Quinn's or Brando?
I would think that mine was best.
And he's obviously the guy that gave what is viewed as the definitive performance.
I wouldn't get into that. I thought Marlon was wonderful, so was Tony. And I saw other performances that I liked. It's a hell of a role, so I thought they were both wonderful.
How difficult was it once somebody's name is synonymous with the role, and I take it that Brando got such incredible reviews when he hit Broadway with this, that people came to see Marlon Brando as Stanley Kowalski. And then when it was announced that he couldn't make a performance, and Jack Palance was filling the role that night, could you feel a sense of disappointment in the audience? And was it something you had to get over?
You got to be kidding. We had to tie the people down to the seats. They were so excited and so happy and so pleased that this had happened.
Yeah.
And they were yelling, "Viva Jack! Viva Jack!" Of course. Hell, I don't know anything about that, Bob. Once you get on, when you're going on for somebody, you don't think about what is happening out there in the audience, because especially the first few times, you're so kind of overwhelmed by what the hell has happened. There you are on Broadway in this leading role, and you're just 25 and just getting started as an actor, and there you are, thrust. I don't think you're able to sense any disappointment, if there was that. The show was important, and I think it was an absolutely marvelous show. Thank you, sir.
Jack Palance, folks. We'll see you later.
And movies, you're doing all these wonderful movies. It's really great. I mean, it gives me a great heart to think that there is like a continuation, because, you know, with Good Morning Vietnam and Toys now, I mean, and Peter Pan, which, you know, I can confess to you now, I think I can say this.
You can say it, it's okay.
I desperately wanted to do Tinkerbell because you were doing Peter.
That would have been great.
And
I think that would have blown people's minds.
I think so too. And what
and you,
Steven
6
said,
inches? What a coincidence.
Yeah. I have someone I want you to meet. Hello.
Hello.
What? I need to know you.
Happy thoughts, happy thoughts. I think it would have been wild. I mean,
but you had this kiss. You had this kiss that you gave to Tinkerbell, and that's why we couldn't do it.
The whole thing was kind of revolving around the book. I mean, of what would make him grow up. And the one thing you realize is...
Well, it wouldn't have been no kiss, I tell you that. Yeah. You want Peter Pan to grow, honey. There's a lot more than a kiss involved in that.
Peter, you're going to learn about your name now.
Peter 1 and 2, honey.
Peter 1 and 2. Peter.
Come on over here. Bring your friend.
Peter 1 and 2.
Come over here and sit down, boy.
Boy.
Crazy boy.
Lost boys.
Yo, baby, yo, baby, yo.
Baby, then get your sword and know you're not bored. Well, at one point, Dustin said we should have done the Lost Boys should have been, he wanted to do a whole rap number with the Lost Boys.
Right.
Stephen had a lot of musical numbers written, but I think he was afraid of them. Because I think, number one, it would have taken longer than it did.
Right.
And it would have been, it's a whole thing to take the chance of doing it as a musical.
Right.
I don't know. I think it could have worked as a musical, but we did it that way. I mean, either way. And the wonderful thing about Hook is all these children love it.
Yeah.
Whether a critic could just go, and you go, but a little kid will go, Peter.
Yeah.
And that's when it's like, pardon me? Oh, Peter. And then there's something, when they can get into a world like that, that's what it's for. And just have Zelda go and see it.
Yeah.
And every now she says, they sent us a pinball machine, and there's a Peter Pan pinball machine. And she goes, that's my dad. He's flying. And it's, oh, thank you. Oh, please. Write a letter to Mr. Ebert.
That's right. That's right.
So it's, you know, that's part of it.
But see, that's one of the things I would have had a great time in the fantasy world with you.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
It's,
So,
you know, it's like it's blue screen, though. It's a hard thing to
Ghost.
do. Ghost. Yeah. You're talking to nothing.
Yeah.
An X, or you're looking and say, they just went through the wall. Okay. It's like Bob Hoskins said after he did Roger Rabbit. He was in the bank one day, and all of a sudden he saw a weasel humping this woman's head. And he went like, oh, right, that's it. That's it. And this weasel's like, going, oh, mm-hmm. Can I help you, sir? In a minute. In 1 minute, when the weasel gets off your nose. Because you have to imagine this as an actor, and that's like when it gets really, you know, very surreal.
Yeah.
That's when all the medication you did earlier pays off. Look, sense memory. And that's what's a strange thing about it, you know, talking to people who've done blue screen things.
But one day, I hope they'll let us play, not just on a stage, because you and I have done that a couple of times, outside of comedy. That's how I met you.
Yeah.
Was on a stage. We did Dueling Valley People. Do you remember that? At Night of at least a Dozen Stars.
That was right, at that night. Oh, God. Man, how many benefits have we done? We've done everything except save the shrimp.
Soon.
Yeah.
Soon.
Please help. Cocktail sauce is a terrible thing to waste. Hi, Whoopi and Robin. We'll go to the opening of an envelope. 1-800-HELP.
Yeah, really. You think
People
by
are actually
now...
paying to go to benefits where we're not there.
That's true.
Did they do that thing yet? Have you done that benefit yet where it's you, Jack Valenti, and Frank Sinatra?
No.
Oh, that's... Oh, yay. That was a great
something.
picture. I went like, there's a combination.
You know,
Start playing those songs.
it's going to be wild. It's going to be wild.
And Jack Valenti. Don't listen to him speak and operate heavy machinery.
No.
He's amazing. Mr. Warm, please welcome. Is it Sinatra? No, it's Jack. Boom, boom, Valenti.
He gets crazy when you call him that.
I know.
I love it, though.
Mr. Boom Boom.
Now, you work with some great people. I want to throw their names out, just if you remember.
Remember these people?
Well, no, you'll remember them, I'm pretty sure, but I'll say them, and then you see what comes to mind. Okay. Richard Pryor.
Oh, man. The greatest thing was to be, well, you talk about playing on stage. I got to be on stage with him at the Comedy Store. Got to improvise with him. And for me, that'd be like getting to play with Coltrane. It's like that type of thing where you got to play, to riff with the master. So it was, and I also got to see him, how he works. I saw him do a piece one night. It was the most amazing piece. I don't think he ever did it again. And maybe he did, I don't know. But he talked about God coming back to Earth. And he comes back to it, he said, I'm here to pick up my kid. He said, pardon me? I'm here for my boy. Where is he? My boy. I came looking for my boy. And he said, someone want to tell him? We killed him. But he came back and split. And he did this whole elaborate piece about that. And then he said, then God got really angry. But then someone convinced him to basically, I guess, it was like he finally said, okay, that's it. I'm not coming back anymore. But I'm going to leave you with love. And if you mess that up, you're on your own. And he walked off the stage. I mean, to see him do stuff, to see him do characters, to see him the way he would play, it was a little bit, you could see when he would get into it, you know? And then you saw afterwards, well, it was hard for him because sometimes after, didn't have anything to fall, like you said, no crutches, no shield, no cognac, nothing. It's harder because he was kind of like a hemophiliac in a razor factory. It was everything, he was very sensitive to it all. Because he's this good soul who was aware of all these different things. He's got demons that drive him and that he fights, but he's got this wonderful heart. And seeing that with him on stage, that was amazing. I mean, those days was probably the most fun performing days at the Comedy Store. He would go on. One night, he went on, Eddie went on, I went on, then we all improvised together one night. That was a strange evening. And then after one night, Willie Nelson played for us. So it was like, those are the nights you go, that was very interesting. And those made it kind of special. You just see him get into characters. And you'd see him just go. And I went, oh, kind of gave me the clue that there's no boundaries.
Yeah.
The stuff he talks about is like open heart surgery with a microphone.
Yeah. Oh, Dustin Hoffman.
He's the most giving. It's an amazing combination of, here's a man who's the most method actor you can be.
Right.
It was like that great thing that supposedly he did to Olivier in The Marathon Man, where he said, why don't we run around the reservoir and get ready for the scene? He said, why don't you try acting, dear boy? It's so much easier. So it's like, he isn't that. He'll make scene, but then he throws out ideas on Hook. He was helping with ideas. Try this, maybe that. Don't do that. Maybe pull back from this. Very giving that way. I mean, he wants to direct.
Yeah.
He can, and I know he could, but I think he, doesn't want to fully do it yet. He's waiting. He's, a couple times he's almost, and then he backs off from it. But he's really giving, and he's really funny. And he's very, he'll rip himself up before you do.
Right.
He'll start attacking all the movies that didn't do well way before that. He'll go into Kramer, he'll talk about Kramer vs. Kramer, but the one he'll make fun of is Ishtar. Yeah, bringing it out again, yeah. Right. He'll go into that, just maybe to get to before I would.
Right. De Niro.
It's a weird thing about Bob is that he is so into it, he can almost do it without you. One time I asked him, I said, Bob, do you want me off camera? He said, no, I want you behind the camera. I went, okay. I kind of went, all right. But he's in his own way, he's very giving, but it's like in this thing of getting into it, forces you to get into it.
Right.
It's almost like magnetism dragging you in, this thing of, oh, you better get into it now. And to watch him the first day, he had the thing where I watched him prepare for 3 weeks, watching tapes, and then the first day he spoke, I realized what it was all for. It was all foreplay for that moment.
Right.
And you get a chance. It's like this, it's an amazing university to be able to see the professors at work,
And the last guy I want to ask you about is somebody I'm like crazy for. Because I know all of his work, and I don't know, I just find him really thrilling and invigorating and inviting and funny and sad and tragic, but amazing. Robin Williams.
Well, I've worked with him. Robin the actor, and I knew this guy. All of a sudden, this is where years of therapy. Working with him is different than living with him. And for that...
Let me speak.
No.
I have known him very intimately in those private moments since the age of 12. That is why he is so hairy.
What is it like to work with me?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, there's sometimes when I just let it go.
Right.
And it's like, when I get into a character or find a thing where you just go with a run, I don't know, it's almost like being possessed. Or like, it's like channeling, except with a commission. You know, it's like all of a sudden you get into a character and it's not, I don't know where it came from, but it's passing through and you just have to say, thank you, and let it go. I mean, that's when performing comedy's like. For acting, it's something else. Acting's more kind of like deep diving and kind of trying to let go of those other things. The hardest thing for me, acting, is to not try and still, you know, look for the funny line or to let go and to make a character, because I'll still try to, oh, was that funny? And go, no, relax, just create the character and it may be funny. That's still the lesson I haven't learned.
Do you ever get scared that it's going to go away?
Yeah, the muse will leave.
Yeah.
Right now, I got very afraid. Because the last few minutes, I thought you were going to ask me about working with Robin Williams. I go, he's a bastard. He's a no-talent prick. But it's, yeah, you get afraid of that because you think, but as long as you can, what happens is the moment you go back out and start performing live again, that the fear takes over and something happens. Right. It'll only let you go so long without kicking in. Right. And then if that ever happens, then you go, oh, it's gone. Then the next thing you know, you're, like Bob Goldthwait says, you're at a boat show with David Hasselhoff. You know, hi, the incredible new Honda jet ski. But seriously, it's me, Mork, ninny. Hey, Pam will be right out here in just a minute. I know, that's when you, as long as you, like you said with the movies, you're getting a chance to try different things. Like you're getting a chance to do amazing things, to work with amazing people. It's almost like Gurdjieff, you know, I get to meet with remarkable people and to, like, the most amazing things about Awakenings was to meet Oliver Sacks. To meet someone like him, who, you know, it's like a, you know.
He was brilliant.
A brilliant man,
Brilliant
but
man.
also, I mean, this, a hero of conscience, someone who does something so incredible as to try and make you explore the other side of diseases like Tourette's.
Yeah.
You know, he would bring all this, he brought Shane. Oh, the greatest thing in the world was, he brought Shane in, who was a guy who has physical Tourette's, who touches you.
Right.
The day that Shane met De Niro. You know, Bob has a slight, you know, area. And then
You
Shane
mean
went...
the wall?
Well,
The
no,
moat?
just that thing you don't normally go up and go, yo, 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 yo. So Shane comes and goes, hi, nice to see you, Bob De Niro. Hi. And you just saw Bob go, nice to meet you, too. It was great. But then after that, he mellowed out and he got used to it. It was like, it just took that initial, have this guy coming in, touching you with physical threat.
Right.
My ego coat. And that was it. I mean, these are the people that make it worthwhile. You know, you meet people that make the whole journey seem not just, you know, obviously the cash is great and all that stuff is wonderful, and but the things that make it, like, have more substance.
Yeah.
Meeting people like Oliver, working with De Niro, and to find out about De Niro that this other side of him, that's this wonderful, funny guy.
Yeah.
That
He
is
a funny guy.
Yeah, and a very sweet man. Don't put him off.
No, don't put him off.
But that's the thing of that he's just, I mean, I consider him this great friend, and these are the things you know, and that's what's made it wonderful. And to know you, and to work with you, and Comic Relief, and to work with you over the years, and know you from all the time. But we've been through a lot.
Yeah.
And we survived.
Yes, we did.
And we'll be at the old comedian's home snorting Maalox.
I'll be shooting it up myself. You know, my nose is all messed up.
Yeah, I'll be going, all right.
We'll be right back.
Thanks.
Next of the show, fly our official carrier, American Airlines. Together with American Eagle, American flies to over 300 destinations in 45 countries worldwide. American Airlines, something special in the air.
We're back.
We are back.
Welcome to my neighborhood.
Did you have a lot of black people around you
Yeah,
when
I
you
was
were a
raised
kid?
by this wonderful black lady named Susie. This wonderful lady. I mean, I think that she was great. She wouldn't put up with anything. Wouldn't take it. You know, I mean, if you try and get, I won't do that. I think you will. I think you will get your sweet self upstairs. You know, so she was a very strong force about it. And I think that's why. I don't know, she had this a great effect upon me. I mean, I ate more cornbread, I know, than a lot of people. And it was like, I don't know, I just remember her being, and this Irish lady, Mrs. Visner. The two ladies.
Visner?
Yeah, because she was like, she took care of me, too. Mrs. Higgins, no, Mrs. Visner was the other lady. She was the Polish lady that took me to her house, and then my mother got very angry later on because she came home, and I came back, and she said, how was your night? Fine, Mrs. Visner took me to her house, and I guess she'd take me there and drank beer and played poker and then brought me back. It was really fun, and I was one of the steaks at one point. But it was interesting.
So what now? So you're kind of this kid, and you're learning sort of the social graces the older you get, hanging out with other kids. You go to New York, and you end up with John Houseman.
That was a wild thing.
What kind of like...
Yeah.
Because he was deep.
Oh, he's an amazing man. I mean, everyone has a vision, you know, of him very much like the guy from the paper chase. Mr. Williams, the theater needs you. I'm going off to sell Volvos. But he was actually kind of a real funky, he was like a radical from his days with Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater and putting on all these incredible plays and the Cradle Will Rock, and they close the theater and they march everybody uptown. And one time I said, John, what do you think of this benefit? He said, Robin, this benefit basically is a dry hump. You know, it's like Santa Claus going, you need a condom. You know, he had a real wonderful funky side that went along with this very elegant man. You know, he said, basically, I'm the money pimp for the school. I go out and get the gray hairs to give up the checks. So that was the other side of him. And he loved theater, and he loved the art. And he was this, and he was very passionate about, I think he was very happy, because I talked to him later on about the fact that you can do political things with your theater. And it isn't just some dead thing that, and now we perform these plays, that you can actually, you know, do it and have some effect. Yeah. He was radical that way.
Who else was in school with you?
It was, Mandy Potemkin. Kevin Kline was just graduating when I arrived. Bill Hurt, still intense. You know, put you in a headlock and go, you have visions? Yeah. A lot of them, yeah. Still like, how are you? You know, sometimes he lightens up, but there's other times when he just goes like, life is like this. Yes. What? Like this. Take your fingers out of my eyes! I see what you mean.
Now, were you one of the three that graduated from Juilliard?
No, I didn't make it at class. No, I left in just before the fourth year and went home to San Francisco.
Right.
And tried to, you know, there was no plays. I mean, I tried to get into theatrical companies. ACT wasn't having auditions. Right. So I tried to put on a play. And then after that, I started doing comedy because I couldn't find any acting work. And I was just doing these workshops.
Right.
And it was a blast. It was at the Intersection Coffee House in San Francisco, which was a wild place. Because it was like this Lutheran coffee house that would have like radical feminist poetry and then comedy, which is a nice combination.
Yes.
But it was a great place to perform it. I think I couldn't have survived any other place. It was a wonderful kind of petri dish to do it in. To start off slow and then work your way up to clubs. And then, you know, play places like in Berkeley, there's a place, the Salamander.
Yes.
With all the people in wheelchairs. You never heard laughter, you just heard...
Yes.
So you get a rolling ovation.
I enjoyed you, were very funny.
That's it.
Ha, ha, oh. Ha.
We'll be right back.
Remember those plays?
Have it, baby. Robin Williams Part 2. Do go see Toys. I hear it's really, really fantastic. And see me tomorrow. Could be interesting. Hey. You looking very done today?
I'm done.
No, look at these shoes, honey.
I dressed up for you.
I
waited
guess you
till these
did.
shoes went on sale.
Who are they by?
They are by that Manolo.
Manolo Blanknick?
Yeah, they're expensive, and I waited for 2 years for them. Now they're out of style, but I got them cheap.
I'm sitting here with Kirstie Alley. Look, baby, you are done.
I am.
I like your hair.
You do?
I do.
I hate it. I'm scared of it.
Why?
Well, because, you know, when you get older, You're,
Thank you.
You know, this is probably sort of like my natural color of hair, but it's been so long since I've seen it that...
Well, you don't do all over, do you? Because all you got to do is look down, see what color your hair naturally is.
Do all...
You know,
That's not always true, is it?
I wouldn't know. You know, you can't do much with this color. You know, you'd have to be there for months trying to bleach this out. You know what I'm saying?
That would be sort of cool. Though.
It could be cool.
I think we should do each other's hair.
We should probably do each other. You'll find out how when we come back with Kirstie Alley, honey. Well, that'll give them something to think about.
I just noticed you don't have any eyebrows.
Yeah.
Where did they go?
They left. They went. They didn't get the contract they wanted, and they walked.
That is cool. You wear black lipstick.
Black lipstick.
And no eyebrows.
Yeah. We have, I decided, got to have our own thing.
Yeah.
Our own thing, not the thing that makes us look like everybody else with the big, you know, I have naturally big lips, of course. That's what God gave me.
Yeah.
I spent many years trying to thin them out, too. Walking around like
many
this.
white women trying to pump
Trying
them
to have
up
white
right now.
women lips.
Have you noticed these chicks' lips?
Have I noticed them, huh? You can't see nothing but them.
Now, first of all, they're not pumping them in the right place. They look like this. They look like they're turned sort of wrong side out like this. They look like hang-down lips. They look like another part of the body, and I'm serious.
It's the truth. All you want is to say, honey, this isn't going to work.
I know, but I've seen them. I've been looking through the magazine. You know, you always look at the movie stars.
Right.
Not that I'm a movie star. You know, I'm in
But
TV.
you are to me.
Well, I know. And you are to me.
Thank you.
But I go through these books, you know, and I go, now, where did she get those lips? But they look like ducks. They don't look like big, voluptuous lips. They look like this. I had a friend over at my house the other day. She was a little party. She said, can you tell? And I was like, can I tell? Hell, girl, you look like a duck.
You know, what is it? What is it about beauty? What is it? You said earlier, you know, that when you're in high school, you know, when you're in school, and all those chicks that you think are going to be what you want them to be, you know, and what you think is going to be. And then you go back and see these broads, baby. They got booty for days.
Yeah.
40, 11 kids.
Of course, I can't talk much about booty.
Well, no, that's because you black Irish. That's why you got booty. That's where the hair comes from. That's where your butt comes from. Let's just get that straight now, okay? Because it is part of us. We don't wrinkle.
That's right.
We spread. Okay?
Right. Yeah, but how were you treated in high school? Were you respected?
Oh, yeah. Head of the class.
But you know those girls. I used to buy all my clothes at Kmart because I really didn't have any money. And my mother made my clothes, too. And that was a whole different story because, you know, the slacks with the crotches hanging down to here. And I'd see something in the store and I'd go, oh, isn't that beautiful? She'd go, I can make that. Or I can make that. And then she would make it. And it was sort of sweet and sad because she was really sweet to try and then it never looked right. So I would buy my clothes at Kmart. And then the other girl, you know, the cheerleader girls.
Yeah.
I was a cheerleader, but I wasn't like, I was like.
Wait, you were a cheerleader?
Oh, yeah. I was like left-wing cheerleader. You know, these girls. But they would say things like, oh, cute city. Where'd you get that? And they would sort of taunt me, you know.
Yeah. Didn't know anything.
They were putting out, too. Now, that was the other thing I'd like to say. They were. You know, I went through this deal. I don't know if you went through this or not, but when I was a sophomore in high school, I thought, you know, I'd go out with a guy, and then he wouldn't ask me out again. And my mother would go, they're putting out. They're putting out. And I was thinking, yeah, she didn't know what the hell she's talking about. And they were putting out.
You didn't have a great time in high school?
I had a real weird time in high school because I wanted to be in, you know.
Yeah.
And, I was a cheerleader, but I was a B-team cheerleader. I was, you know, I looked a lot older than I was, and so I looked sort of out of place. And, you know, you hear girls say, oh, you know, I just wasn't cool in high school. Well, I really wasn't. I was a dweeb, basically. And I hung out with whores, sort of. You know, because my girlfriends were, those weren't the cheerleaders.
Right.
That wasn't Jan and Carol. These were real whores. They sort of were, you know, they were sort of whory girls that, that they just liked me for me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. When did you get to L.A.?
I was at the bottom, so I had nowhere else to go downhill.
Right.
So I thought, well, you know, I could fail here and no one would notice. So I just came to California, you know.
And then you got here.
And then I got here, and about my first call was to William Morris,
right,
who I thought was there, you know, Bill. May I speak to William? Because it's the only agent I'd ever heard of. I was just so stupid. And I just called and said, I'm just here.
And what'd they say?
Click.
But eventually somebody must have picked up the phone.
Yeah, you know, they picked up the phone. They just hung out. They just thought I was kook. I mean, now I get it. You know, if you called up and said, I'm here, and, you know, I want to be an actress, and can you imagine how dumb that would sound?
Well, no, having done it, no. It doesn't sound dumb to me at all. You know, I still do it. Hello, you know me? But
do?
now I made, oh, yeah, come on, you know these, you know how it goes. These scripts don't just come floating over to you.
They don't? Well, now maybe I'm doing something wrong. What do you do?
Me?
You fight for stuff?
I make phone calls and say, I hear you're making this movie, can I be in it? Once they stop laughing, you know, sometimes they will work it out. But, you know, it is a different thing for women here. It's a very different thing, and how they deal with you when you are a friend and say, you know, I like this, I'd like to do it. What is your relationship to
With
Hollywood
what?
in terms of movies? What do you do?
Not much. My relationship is, it's sort of funny because I started out doing a movie, you know, and then I did a couple of movies, and then I did Cheers, and then in between, you know, you have time off, and you do some more movies, but you sort of, I'm in a position where, while Cheers is on, you sort of do a movie in your time off, which not necessarily the best movies in the world are in that 4-month period of time or 3-month period of time.
Isn't it also so that you take the best of what's offered you?
Yes, that's the diplomatic way to say it.
Well, no, I mean, you know, people, I guess, think that you sit around and say, oh, this is a great script, this is a great script, but this is a real piece of dog do, and this is the one I'm going to do.
Yeah, no.
You know,
no.
it doesn't
You always
work that
think,
way.
I mean, I always think, oh, this could be a really great movie.
Yeah.
I don't think, you know, I haven't been handed, the Manolos.
See, that's what expensive shoes do.
They
fly off
These are
your
half
feet.
shoes. They don't even have a back, and they're expensive. People think that you know, I haven't seen, nobody's like handed me Sophie's Choice.
Yeah.
And said, you know, now, please, you know, God, please. Sidney Pollack hasn't called me and gone, please do this, please. You know, I haven't had any of those kind of experiences.
Nor I.
You haven't either?
No.
Well, what's up with that?
I wanted to read for Sophie's Choice.
But you didn't?
They said my hair was too short. They did. You know? Oh, I guess they want us to go to commercial. We'll be right back with Kirstie Alley, right here on this stage. Come back, honey.
I wanted to compliment you on something.
What?
I caught your show. Your guest was Tom Metzger.
Yeah.
And my whole family was sitting there watching this, and we all had the same reaction. It was the first time that I have seen on a talk show someone allow someone, especially someone who would be easy to disagree with, complete a sentence and a train of thought and a concept. And I thought it was so wonderful because you allowed this man to tell you his point of view in its entirety. And the effect that it had, the reason I thought it was excellent, the effect that it had was, with all of us, was that we really weren't educated on his point of view.
Yeah.
And once we heard his point of view, we were able to assimilate that information and to truly realize that he is evil personified.
Well, I
so I
appreciate
commend you on that.
I appreciate
we
that.
loved that. And it was very interesting, and it was very noble of you, because the easy thing to have done would be to get in his face and cut his communication and then it would have been Geraldo.
Now look, I want to say this to you. I want to go to the Kirstie Alley School of how to communicate, baby, because you were very deep.
Oh.
You walked into a restaurant, saw a man that you ended up marrying, Parker. You walked up to the table where he was sitting with another woman, and you looked at her and said, I know he came with you, but he's leaving with me. Now, come on. I think that's pretty great.
Well, I
What
wanted
did she
him.
say? But I got to know what Miss Singh said, honey.
Well, she was, you know, one of those girls that I always wanted to be. The very thin, petite, blonde, just perfect, immaculate-looking little babes.
Right.
And she didn't say anything. She just said, you know, she just looked like, they have that look. She just looked
Do that
like
look for me.
that. You know, that was a little rude.
Well,
but, you know, in all, I mean, this is a better story. I mean, that sounds real romantic and all that, but he thought he was going to do a three-way is the reason he went. Because he did not just think he was going, he thought he was going with me and Mimi Rogers, and because she was with me. So,
Right.
And so we took him back to his apartment, and he was...
Oh, he left the woman.
He did.
Ow!
Well, Mimi and I looked good then. She still looks good, you know.
Oh, and you're such a dog.
Yeah, well,
Hello.
You know. So we took him back to his apartment, and he's, you know, he's like, would you like a drink? Would you like anything? And he's like, you know, it's like this subtext. Here's in his head. It's like, you're Rogers, Kirstie Alley. Two of these chicks. Oh, God. I left this one bimbo for these two girls. Oh, I am lucky tonight. And so we went in the bathroom, you know, like girls do, like, he thinks he's going to do both of us. He thinks he's going to do both of us. What an idiot. And so we decided to sort of play along with that. So we came out and we sat on the sofa and we were real, you know, cozy. Like we had our arms around each other and we were giggling with him. And then at about, I think it was about 1 in the morning, because I had to be to my first acting job the next day,
Right.
Star Trek. So it was about 1 in the morning. And we said, bye. And he was like, what? What? And we just, and then he took me aside and said, you can stay. And I said, no, I can't.
But how did you hook up? Because you're married to him now.
Well, I did something the next day. I really liked him. I really, really liked him. So I slyly called the next day, and he had an operator that answers the phone in his building. He was in Shoreham Towers. And I said, oh, please give this message to Parker. I said, I don't want to bother him. But I had a little too much to drink last night, and I really embarrassed myself, and I hope I didn't cause any hard feelings.
Eyes just a fluttering. I can see you now.
And then I hung up the phone like a 1, a 2, a 3, a ring. Oh, Parker.
Very, very
It was
chick thing.
pretty darn calculated, you know.
But it worked out.
It worked out
A
well.
little calculation is not bad.
You've got to work for, it's like the scripts. You've got to work for those men.
I think so.
If they're worth it.
Who are the hottest men out there now? Now that you're off that market. You
Hottest
know, you're
men,
not
actors
shopping.
or just men?
I think actors, because I don't know how we would describe who these other men would be.
Like my next door neighbor and stuff.
Yeah. And you'd have to get into where you live. And
Well, okay, I'll tell you who I think's hot. I think Nick Nolte is way hot.
Absolutely, yes. Nick is very hot.
I think that Costner, of course, is hot.
Who?
Kevin Costner.
Okay.
I think he's very hot.
Okay.
I think who my new hottest guy is
Who?
is Wesley Snipes.
You just coming on to Wesley, honey?
Well, I haven't come on to him yet.
Ah.
But
That's why she's
he is so sexy, and I'd like to do a movie with him where I
Yes.
kiss him. Because, you know, that's the only place you get to kiss anymore. When you're married, you don't just get to be kissing everybody. But this job allows you that luxury.
It does, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And since I was a little girl, I think that's really why I became an actress.
To get kissed?
To make out with people when you were married.
Have you made out with a lot of people in movies?
Yes.
Have you?
Yes.
Who?
Well, I make out with Ted Danson every week. Not
Right.
every week, but, you know, not every week. We make out, and we made out on the show. Who else? Travolta, Tom Selleck.
Right.
I don't want to forget anybody. Made out with a lot of guys, you know. But it really, there's no other job that really ethically allows you to go to your work and just make out and lay in bed on top of people. And when I was a little, I swear to God, when I was a little girl, when I was about 5 years old, I had this 8x10 of some old actress named Linda Darnell. And I'd carry that picture around with me. I think, no, when I'm going to be older, I'm going to be in love, and I'm going to be married, and I'm going to have kids, but I'm going to make out with other men.
But where did Linda come into this?
She was my idol.
Oh, I
Because
see.
it's the only 8x10 picture I had. I have no idea where I got it.
You weren't making out with the picture, though.
No,
Let's get that clear because people won't,
Did you ever
know.
make out with girls when you were little?
No, nobody wanted to make out with me.
You did it when you were like 7 or 8 years old. You didn't go, okay, you be Roger, and I'll be me, and then you make out with each other?
No, I couldn't get anybody in the room. You talk about being dorky, you know. I was not an attractive kid. No, I missed out on a lot.
God.
We have actually some of the, listening to you sort of brings some of that back because, you know, I always wanted to know how to dance. You know, when I was a kid, it was all the Motown stuff. So in the basement of the building we lived in, they used to have these teen dances. And they'd put up Christmas lights, right? So you come downstairs and there'd be Smokey Robinson playing, ooh, you know, and guys would have them up against the wall and I'd kind of be like, but they'd, you know, people would come at me like this, and then they'd veer away. Oh, it was horrible. It was horrible.
This is what they do with me. I was a jock, because I was a swimmer my whole life. So guys would come up to me and they'd go, I think, oh, God, I love this guy. I had this one guy, Jerry Beat, loved him more than anyone. He walks up to me and I'm going, he's going to ask me to dance, he's going to ask me to dance. He goes, hey, Allie, want to arm wrestle?
Now, is that the one that did you wrong?
No.
Tell me about that dog.
Well, this is the guy that did me the wrongest.
Tell me, girl.
His name was Ken Bell.
First, how old were you?
First, I was 13, and I went away to art school.
Right.
And this was in Kansas. And I loved this guy with all my heart and soul. I loved him. I would have done anything for this guy. I loved him. Every time I saw him, I just would tremble. One night, there were a lot of people around, and he said, Kirstie, I want to kiss you. And this was like the biggest thing in my life.
Right.
And I said, okay. And he said, but what I want you to do, he said, I want you to play this little game. I want you to get on your knees and say, Ken, please kiss me. So I thought, oh, this is so fun. Oh, I love him so much. And I got on my knees and I said, Ken, will you please give me a kiss? And he said, no. And he walked off.
Were the people around?
Yes, and they all laughed. And it has stuck with me so long. If I ever see this man, where's the camera?
Which one, baby?
Any of them. If I ever see you, Ken, I will spit in your face. I put you right up there with Geraldo, pal. So that was Ken. What a... Can we say that?
Not only can we say it, but Ken, she's talking about you, babe. We'll be right back with Kirstie Alley. Show you too.
Yeah, that's what you were doing.
You know. Baby. Well, so much for Ken. So much for Geraldo. I think we told those chicks in Kansas City where we thought they were at.
I think we did.
I think we did,
I
baby.
think we did.
We moved it on up. Hopefully we'll get the script that we want, you and I, so we can
Yeah, we need that.
I think so. I'm so glad you came. You'll come back, yeah?
Oh,
so
yeah.
to play some more?
Oh, yeah.
And thank you for the compliment. It means a lot.
Well, it was deserved.
Thank you, baby.
Sure.
We'll see you tomorrow night. Go on now. We're going to talk about other stuff.
Get the hell out of here. We got more people to trash.
If we don't like anything, we can do it over again?
Sure.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
But we're in.
All right.
We're here.
Cool.
How you doing, John?
Good.
Good. I'm glad to see you.
I'm glad to see you,
I
too.
haven't seen you in ages.
I know. It's been too long.
Yeah. I'm sitting with John Travolta, my friend. You all know him. Say hi to folks, John.
Where's the camera?
Oh, they're all
they're
over.
on.
That's mine. Yours is over
Hi.
there. Now, honey, you got this wonderful baby.
I know.
Yes.
Jet.
Jet.
J-E-T-T.
Oh. Now,
Jet.
you the man who said, no, I'm never going to get married. Forget the monogamy. It's not going to happen.
That's true. I did say that at one point, didn't I?
Yeah. Isn't it nice
I changed
to grow
my
up?
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jet Jackson.
Jet Jackson. Jet Jackson Travolta.
Well, actually, Jet Jackson Keone Travolta, because Kelly's part Hawaiian. So she wanted to put a Hawaiian name in there. Jet Jackson Keone.
Ooh, honey.
Yeah, he's really cute.
I know he is. Because you cute, John.
Thanks.
You're still very cute. You know. But when we come back, we'll discuss just how cute you are.
All right.
We'll be right back. Yes, Jet Jackson. Truth, you know? God. Now, John, look who's talking, and look who's talking too. And you have this baby. Is your baby talking?
Not yet.
Not saying a thing.
Well, actually, he does talk. He's 5.5 months, so he jabbers on, you know.
What do you think they're thinking?
I don't know. I wrote him a little song the other day about that. You know, because he definitely has his own thoughts, you know.
Right.
But I just acknowledge him and kind of try to figure out what he's thinking. But, you know, I sing him old songs from when I grew up, like Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Yes.
Put him up in the air. Casper the Friendly Ghost. Double time it.
That's it, that's it.
But I mix it with, like, Felix the Cat, because I forgot, you know.
Oh, I have all the words to both of those.
Oh, do you? I like him, because he will end up with all the wrong lyrics to it, you know.
Well, but he might, like, be doing something different.
Yeah, that's true.
Might be hip for her.
Then you double time it, and he shakes his head, does that.
They're
Casper
amazing.
the Friendly Ghost. Friendliest ghost I know.
You're having a ball, aren't you?
Oh, man. I'm crazy about him. I really am. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I really don't.
This is a very long way from New Jersey, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
You ever go home?
Well, you see, I only have one relative back in New Jersey, left, Aunt Mildred. And we bring her out. But I go back to New York more than I do New Jersey.
Right.
I left so early. I left at like 16, New Jersey. And I love being brought up there. But I moved into Manhattan and did the whole showbiz bit pretty early.
Thing, yeah. But did you live with a whole bunch of folks in a condemned building?
Yeah, I live with my sister. I guess I did say that in an interview once.
Yeah.
My sister and a bunch of actors. And I lived in a condemned building on 56th and 8th. It was really kind of funny.
Did they ever tear it down?
Yeah, it's a parking lot now.
Because, you know, some condemned buildings in New York stay like that for, like, ever.
It was $50 a month. And oldest elevator in Manhattan. But we had a blast, you know. We were 16, 18, 20-year-old kids, you know.
And what were you doing?
Going up for commercials, off-Broadway shows. You know, I was making a living as an actor early on. You know, so, I had that going, too. So it was just smart economics, cheap rent, and, you know. But the funny thing was is that, you know, you made a pretty good living as a commercial actor, but it's still like you kind of broke even at $50 a month rent, which is kind of weird in a way, you know.
It's funny, you know, when you look back and you think, yeah, I actually could do this, and life was kind of calm, and you would think that you would be able to maintain that, but it goes really fast, because you accelerated. You got, people, I guess, really found you through Carter.
Yeah, that was really the deal.
Which was a big shock for everybody, I think, because, you know, when you look at the first shows, you were like listed 7th. You know, the second year, you gave who, you know, it was really something.
But, you know, that was the days of, a lot of kids were taken off from, like Fonzie took off from Happy Days. Jimmy Walker took off. What's the guy from Chico and the Man? Freddie
Prinze, yeah.
So they didn't know what ethnic type was going to take off. You dig? So it's like, sort of like, let's make everyone eat, because it was a different show every year, a different type. I started out like a kind of head of the gang, but by the end of the season, before we started, they made everyone even. So everyone kind of had little parts, and they let the audience decide who it would be. So it took about 8 shows before, you know, I kind of helped. But I didn't mind that, because I thought, okay, let's make it fair. You know, and let's see who comes up with an interesting enough. I mean, not that it was a race to stand out, but it was kind of, you know.
Well, that's, I mean, you want people to see what you're able to do. And, boy, they grabbed you, baby. They loved you, you know. I got a teenager, you know. My kid, you just saw her, you know.
She's great.
She is great. I have to tell this story, because this is a John Travolta, Whoopi Goldberg story. I told John once that it was my kid's birthday, And I asked you to call initially, if you would call. And you fly. You had your plane, which I could never handle. So you came up and broke her face.
I know, I remember that. She was so cute. That really made a big effect to her. And then we went out for Chinese food.
That's right. That's right.
Then we went to Disneyland shortly after.
Now, you know, this is like a thing for her. Not only that, but for years, John. What is it? Every mother of a teenager who's probably turning 18 now wants you to answer this question. Why do they play Grease 98 times a day? I know every song from this movie.
Do you know I do have an answer to that?
Please tell me.
Because when I was 18, I did the stage version of it, but the Broadway version, it was already out.
Right.
And I played the album of the Broadway show all day, every day, when I was a struggling actor.
Right.
And it had the same effect on me. I don't know what it is about that play and that movie that has a distinct effect on kids. I don't know how to describe, but I guess what I meant is that even I had that happen to me, you know. So it's, I don't know if that answered the question really, but you know what I mean.
It's kind of par for the course.
It really is, you know, and I was obsessed with it. I would dress in the clothes and really get up and. Yeah.
Do you know what it's like to try to explain to a little black girl that she is not going to look like Olivia Newton? No, you're not going to look like that. I mean, it's amazing. And then with Saturday Night Fever, people went berserk. That must have been a ton of pressure, though, too, to have to live up to all of these expectations.
Well, it was and it wasn't. You know, part of you expects to do well, so you kind of accept and anticipate that success, but then the other part is the shock, as you know. It is kind of, it puts you in kind of a shocking state.
Yeah.
Or shocked state.
Shocked state.
Rather. So you're kind of, don't really know what's going on, but you pretend like you know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I thought, it took me about 7 years to get over that.
Right.
So yeah, I did pretty good.
Scientology's helped you quite a bit, yeah?
You bet. Yeah, I got in Scientology and Dianetics in 1975, before Welcome Back, Kotter. Matter of fact, about the same month that I did it, and it's just been like the best friend a person could possibly have.
Yeah, there's lots of people I think don't know very much about it, and it sort of has a very odd reputation for folks. So it's an interesting thing to meet people who are into Scientology and find out how it really helps.
Sure, and you know, it helps in every way imaginable, but probably the fairest way is to read a book on it, you know, for someone interested in the subject matter. It's the most obvious way. But for me, I guess emotionally it was there, and it had as a way of organizing your life in a way that put sanity in areas that didn't have it before, and it's so scientific. Really, you know, that being a pilot, you know, and being kind of analytical about life and emotional and analytical at the same time, it kind of answered that puzzle for me. So
something to think about.
Yeah.
We'll be right back with John Travolta. See how they got that finger motion there.
Less hassle.
Yeah, much less hassle.
Yeah.
We're back with John Travolta. We're back. Now, John, when you look back, did Hollywood abandon you for a while? Did you just not live up to their expectations of what you were supposed to be doing? Because I don't understand what happened, because Staying Alive did well, Blowout did well. There are a whole bunch of movies that did well, and they didn't seem to cut you any slack.
Well, I mean, who can figure out that Hollywood, you know, I can't. But, you know, I never felt abandoned as much as I felt like there were just times where it was more difficult to figure out what was going on. But, you know, hey, at the peak of your career, and
Which one?
I mean, the first one.
Right, okay.
The first peak of your career. And it was a low peak for me. I was going to get to do a movie with Whoopi Goldberg. Now, to me, that felt like Holly wasn't abandoning me at all.
But I always sort of get a little bit of an attitude when they talk about things as comebacks, as though, you know, our careers went to complete garbage and we had to drag ourselves back up through the
That's
stuff.
a press phenomenon.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, because I was talking to your girl yesterday, Barbara, who does the pre-interviews, and I found myself getting mad at her. You know, like I actually like raised my voice at her because the tone that she was taking was a journalist tone of like Vanity Fair or Rolling Stone or, you know, Interview or something where it was like, it kind of had a negative edge on it.
Right.
And I said, you know, I really can't answer these questions when they have that edge on them because it makes it something that's not true for me.
Right.
You know, and so I guess the peaks and valleys are all, A, they're subjective, and B, whose viewpoint are you looking at when you look at these peaks and valleys? I mean, let's face it, Whoopi Goldberg, how bad can things be for us? Ever. You know what I mean? I mean, like, this is like, It's a Wonderful Life, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, like, take all the bullshit and push it aside and, like, all the personal things that everyone has to deal with.
Right.
When you look at the A to B lifestyle of a person like us, it's pretty darn good, you know? And it's like, when you come from where I come from, it's very, it immediately puts it into perspective. So these peaks and valleys are like interpretive to me, you know what I mean?
They're also part of a career. Because, I mean, the guys that we grew up watching on television, they were big stars in little movies and little stars in big movies, and you had the opportunity to try lots of different things or stop for a while.
That's right.
You know, but now we have these kind of phrases that sort of take us into another direction. By the way, I had Barbara flogged.
Oh, did you?
She was very, she
was sweet, though, because she said, you know what? I can't believe I have been influenced by, she said, I am, and I have been influenced by all the pre-information you've given me, and that is the only references I have to you. And I said, well, then we've got to look at other viewpoints, which is my peers, or my fans, my family, my friends, you know, and what they are, and what it's like for me on a daily level. And I gave her some examples of, you know, people have called or written letters or whatever that it makes, it doesn't reflect that negative viewpoint, you see.
Because I have to admit, it really does bother me.
Sure.
When they say, you know, and she said 5 box office failures. Yeah, okay. You know, we know. Let's move on to something else, okay? You know, because it's not that they're failures. They're failures in terms of a box office ideal.
Right.
You know?
And you have to put that into perspective with the successes as well.
Yeah,
now, honey,
baby.
You and I have some of the biggest pictures ever made. I'm sorry. That's the truth.
It is the truth.
That's the truth. And if you want to put Whoopi Goldberg and John Travolta's movies together, they come to somewhere around $3 billion. And, you know...
Child, that's right, honey. So all of y'all put your thumbs up and your thumbs down.
You know, that's exciting. And I like to look at that because it outweighs the negative.
Yeah.
It does outweigh it.
But hell, you were flying during that. During the times you weren't doing movies.
Yeah, I did.
You did your thing.
Well, I checked, you know, after a movie, I notoriously checked out of the movie industry and went into American Airlines or a jet school of some sort and became a professional jet pilot. You know, and that's what I do. That's my other gig. I don't get paid for it, but I mean, that's my other passion in life. And, you know, like I'm the only guy so far in the movie industry that's flying their own jet. You know?
Now, but wait a minute, honey. Do you mean to tell me that I could get on American Airlines? Because we're with American, right? So we can say American Airlines. I'm saying it anyway. American Airlines, 2 or 3 times. You mean one day I could get on the plane and the door could open, it could be you in the cockpit?
Why not?
Ooh, we'll be right back, baby, with John Travolta and our cockpit.
Actually, what I'd have to get is a commercial tag to it, which means all it does is you take a test which allows you to make money for your service. But technically, I'm probably more experienced than the guys.
Now, John, I've been asked to ask this question of you by Barbara. And that is, do you have any advice for a 16-year-old actor out there who's looking to find their dream?
Oh, goodness. Barbara, where'd that question come from?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's very simple. I mean, I can only advise what I did. You know, I went to Manhattan. I picked up the trades like the show business, the variety and all that stuff, and they have little audition things. Keep away from like X-rated auditions, but the ones that are legitimate, summer theater and TV commercial stuff. And I used to just go up for the open calls, and then through that I got a show, and then through that I got an agent, and then a manager. I mean, it's like, it's persist. If you love it, persist.
Yeah.
You know. I wanted to also give, you know, say something because I don't do talk shows. I did one, David Letterman, since in the last 2 years. You know, this is the second one, and I wanted to say how advice to fathers to be, are, you know, and that is if you can, watch your wife have the baby, because I'll tell you, I had a new respect for women. And if you loved your wife before, you really love her after you see her have that baby. Because, you know, and Kelly was particularly incredible because